Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt, and when I say corrupt, I'm talking about totally corrupt, political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense. And that's what's been happening. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, did FBI agents pay a visit to Lynn Forrester de Rothschild after finding photos of her on Jeffrey Epstein's hard drives that may have been with underage girls? This is according to a Hollywood insider, which we're going to take a closer look at, plus a whole lot more breaking news stories that you have to see. So you guys are going to want to stick around and watch this episode. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. You guys know the drill. I always start by saying thank you to everybody who said that subscribe button. If you have not done that yet, what are you thinking? Please come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when these videos get posted. So, today, this is where we left off, obviously, right where we left it. The 8chan boards are still down. CodeMonkey is working very hard with a lot of other people, including the owners of 8chan, to get the website back up. It's, in my opinion, now just a matter of time. With that being said, remember this. There is a whole bunch of other news that is still happening, and we're covering those stories right now, including the one we're going to talk about here, about the Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, good friend of David Brock from Media Matters and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, possibly being interviewed by the FBI after evidence has allegedly appeared on Jeffrey Epstein's hard drives, which may show her with underage girls. That is one story, but there's a whole bunch of other stories, including the fact that there's a movie being produced right now, or that is actually been made and is being marketed about, and I can't make this up, the premise of the movie is people who, for pleasure, hunt down and kill deplorables, i.e. Trump supporters. And this is a big-time Hollywood film. I'm terrified. This is really the sign of a deteriorating society when you make movies like this and you think it's a joke. We're going to take a look at that, plus so many different breaking news stories that you guys are just going to have to stick around and see this for yourself. But before we do that, we always come back here, and I just remind you guys, look, the videos, the numbers, they speak for themselves. You know, you can see when they drive down traffic, when you talk about subjects that they don't want you to talk about. It's fairly obvious the algorithmic suppression's continually tightened, like a very, very slow tightening that you don't even notice, to where they constrict traffic down and down and down. So you guys have to break that by sharing these videos. And I hate to reiterate it so much, but the numbers will continue to go down if people don't share these, because the algorithms are set to suppress. Let's put it that way. And you guys need to get out there and share this information. Also, there's this video, What is QAnon the Great Awakening? If you're scratching and go, what is QAnon the Great Awakening? Please come here and watch this. It's a great video to share with your friends who aren't sure of what's going on, or to figure out how to do the research and all of that. So with that being said, let's talk about a few news stories. First of all, this is just unbelievable. As you all know, Peter Strzok is the former lover of Lisa Page and top investigator at the FBI for the Hillary Clinton investigation and the Donald Trump investigation, who just so happened to absolutely love Hillary Clinton and have a secret, or was having a secret affair with Lisa Page, and was texting back and forth about things like creating an insurance policy to frame the president in case President Trump won, and the fact that they hated President Trump in general. That was the gist of their texts. And this man, who has been fired from the FBI, has actually filed a case against the FBI for, I guess, wrongful termination, whatever you want to call it. I called it out on Twitter today because right after he did this, of course, Andrew McCabe filed a lawsuit against the FBI as well, saying that, well, he was wrongfully terminated as well because he wouldn't pledge allegiance to Trump. So these two clowns, who are obviously trying to manipulate the system to garner some sort of favor from the court of public opinion, in my opinion, because it's simple what Q has told us before. This is one of their tactics. They'll do things like sue and say they're being politically targeted so that when indictments come out that actually are about the crimes that they've committed, they can say, look, I'm being politically targeted. No, you committed crimes, so you're being targeted for investigation. That's what actually happened. Committed crimes allegedly. But Peter Strzok and Lisa Page are the two examples, but Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe are the two lawsuits that we have here now. And you would just not believe, lo and behold, of course, as the words of Joe Hoft from the Gateway Pundit, quote, the most corrupt judge in U.S. history, Obama appointee Amy Berman Jackson, was assigned to the wrongful termination lawsuit for the most corrupt FBI agent in U.S. history, Peter Strzok. You can't make this stuff up. According to Joe Hoft, the most corrupt judge in U.S. history, which I would tend to agree with, given the history of this woman's actions as a sitting judge, has been assigned to this case. Because there is a deep state, because there are these special little groups behind the scenes that are coordinating all of this. And that's what we're trying to fight. But you see right now, Amy Berman Jackson, quote, the most corrupt judge in U.S. history, unquote, is the one who is presiding over this case. Now, if you want a little refresher on what she did, in 2013, Judge Jackson rejected arguments from the Catholic Church that Obamacare's requirements that employers provide cost-free coverage to contraceptive services in spite of being contrary to their religious beliefs. This was overturned by the Supreme Court. So there she made a bad ruling that was overturned by the Supreme Court because she's a corrupt judge. Then you have in 2017, Jackson dismissed the wrongful death suit against Hillary Clinton filed by the two families of lost loved ones in Benghazi. The families argued that Clinton had done little to help their sons and then lied to cover it up. Another deep state cover-up hack job by this Amy Jackson person. 2018, Paul Manafort's case was reassigned to Judge Jackson, and we all know what happened after that. And you can go on and on and on. The fact of the matter is, she is the judge that has handled all of the most controversial cases coming out of the Robert Mueller case, and she is obviously the most corrupt judge in U.S. history, according to Joe Hoft. Not my words, his words. But look, this is disgusting. This is a complete stain on the justice system in our country, and people like Judge Berman should be removed from her position. And as the article goes on to say here at the end, I think it kind of sums it up perfectly. You guys can read this full article. I'll leave a link. It says there's no way that Judge Amy Berman Jackson was randomly assigned to corrupt cop Strzok's case. Judge Jackson should be thrown in jail for her blatant abuse of the U.S. judicial system and torturing and destroying those who worked with President Trump. Corrupt cop Strzok should be brought to justice for his grotesque and corrupt actions in exonerating Hillary Clinton and in attempting to overthrow the Trump administration. This will never happen under a corrupt Judge Jackson. I could not agree with the sentiment of this article any more, and the words are the words. So, look, that's what it is. This is a new story that came out. Everyone was complaining when President Trump said something nice about this Sue Gordon woman who was the BFF and right-hand woman to John Brennan, the raisin-faced turd muffin from the CIA, who was involved in a lot of really corrupt stuff, in my opinion. But apparently today, President Trump made an announcement on his Twitter that she is going to be retiring with Dan Coates. So you know what? You know what I call that, guys? I call that taking the trash out. All right? And President Trump knows who these deep state people are, and it takes a long time to remove all these people. You know, you can't overturn the government overnight and just remove every single position, every single official in each position. You have to let them, I think a lot of it has to do with, guys, there's a strategy to all this. You monitor them, you surveil them, you give them enough rope, if you know what I mean. And that's what we've been doing for quite some time with a lot of these people. So just enough time for them to all show their true colors and then retire into wherever and maybe be brought up on charges afterwards. Here's another one. Sue Gordon. This is the tweet we just looked at. So that was interesting. Lindsey Graham was on Hannity saying that there's proof of systematic corruption at highest levels of DOJ and FBI. Thanks. Tell us something we don't know. But that's going to be a big story coming up too, because they're having big Senate, I think it's Senate Judiciary Committee hearings on this exact topic. And what's coming out now was from the, it was actually from Judicial Watch who broke the story, I believe, which was talking about how they get more of Bruce Orr, or more text messages and emails and information that's going to show that these individuals knew what they were doing in trying to push this Steele dossier to frame the president, to abuse the FISA court, which they didn't even need to abuse anyway, but they had to have it for the predicate for the Russia hoax investigation, the special counsel, this whole blockade. Q has told us this is a blockade. They are literally keeping, they're blocking justice from taking place. Let's put it that way. All right. So that's something I thought was definitely worth noting. Now, a few other stories here. First of all, Maryland police have officially started to serve these red flag orders. Now, if you guys don't know what a red flag order is, it's a pretty unconstitutional thing, in my opinion, where people are red flagged as being unstable or not able to carry or have guns. And so the police are executing raids on these people. And this is a great example of the tragedy and the real bitter truth about what this is. Now, this was a guy who was red flagged. I guess he was a 61-year-old Maryland man, and he apparently had a gun. Police arrived at his house at 5 a.m. I guess they forced entry, I'm assuming, and killed him because he had a gun. People say that he was a harmless man. We'll never really know, but this is a very dark step in the wrong direction here, where we have police actually, executing raids on people's houses to take guns. They're training them for something much bigger. But look, we have to continue to stand up for the Second Amendment, especially in the face of all the tragedies and the senseless violence that exists all around us. I just thought that was a story worth looking at. Over 100 Victoria's Secret models pen an open letter about sexual misconduct. This is very interesting, considering the fact that in this letter they reference Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner, and the fact that these people were all connected and that models are being trafficked. So, good for them. I think that standing up to this is the first way. We have to call it out for what it is. These models are the ones who are experiencing it firsthand as far as abuse and trafficking. And look, it's going to continue to come out. This is going to be a societal thing that nobody can stop. Nothing they do will stop what's coming. So first, before we get into that, let's get into this movie that's coming out. Now, when I read this story, I didn't even know what to say. I have not heard of this film. I was sickened. I was saddened. I was upset. I was trying to understand how this could happen in our society. But apparently they made a satire film that is called The Hunt. And it's a movie where, according to this article and other articles, liberal elites hunting red state deplorables for sport over the weekend, or over a vacation. But you've seen this story come out now. It's saying that ESPN and their big, head corporation said they're going to pull these ads for this movie. But this is much more deep and disturbing than anything I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that Hollywood is fetishizing, murdering people for their political opinions in a way that's presented as humor and satire. Man, this is not, it's funny because I look at this and I think to myself, well, it's just the double standard, right? This movie's okay to make and to market and to put out there for everyone to watch and laugh at as people commit senseless acts of violence against people they politically disagree with, and torture them for fun, because they're sick and satanic and twisted in their heads, right? The people who wrote this movie, I'm saying, even the actors, everyone involved in this movie, in my opinion, was pretty sick and demented to begin with. But this is just disgusting. And the double standard is, you could never make this movie the other way around. I mean, you would have every organization, you'd have Antifa, you'd have every Hollywood actor crying and, screaming at the sky like a psychopath. This is really how our society devolves. Tucker Carlson's been talking about this a lot in the Civil War. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, I see these things continue to escalate and escalate and escalate. And they're trying, the elites, let me say this, the elites would rather burn down this country and destroy it than to be caught, because they are criminals. They are satanic. They're demonic. They're evil. They're possessed. Okay? This is possession level stuff. Demons inside of these people are making them write movies that are supposed to be funny about murdering people who support President Trump. And I'm the only one sitting here going, this is insanity. But that's because they're mentally deranged. There are screws loose in their head, and they're being pushed by this media, this media elite class that don't care about truth. They don't care about objectivity. They care about their beliefs. Their opinion matters more than anyone else's, and they were willing to say and do whatever they have to in order to shut down the other side of the conversation. And this is another example. Tommy Lee, I think this was him reposting this, but this is the thing that's been out there where, they talk about how they're going to, if they ever win the White House back, it's just supposed to be a joke. But this is not a joke. This is the real ideas that they live in, the world that they live in. Now you have people like these brainwashed Hollywood people like Rosanna Arquette, of the Arquette family, David Arquette, Patricia Arquette, all these people. She's saying, I'm sorry I was born white and privileged. What? This is the demoralization. See, it just continues to escalate. Societally, they have to demoralize the citizens. They have to put them in this anguish or anger state, the state of anguish, so that they go out and they just destroy the society at large. That's why you see these psychopaths going into places and shooting, because they are being demoralized and destroyed by a society that's making them hate themselves. And then that fosters and breeds division, which then just spreads like cancer. And the cancer is going to destroy this country if nobody stands up to these psychopaths, right? Some of these people are brainwashed. Some of them are not bad people. Some of them are doing it for other reasons, like, they're just trying to fill their own ego, or they're trying to become rich, or they're trying to do this or that. But a lot of these people are willfully engaging in this practice. And, it's like what Q's told us from the beginning. It's a lot of these rich and powerful families that are pushing this stuff. Now, remember, let's go back here for a second and look at what Q told us back on July 11th. So not more than a month ago. Q said this to us. He gave us this Twitter post, which talked about at the 12:05 mark, where they were having this exchange on the Ingram angle, that Linda Rothschild was the one who introduced Epstein introduced Alan Dershowitz to Jeffrey Epstein. So remember this, Linda Rothschild. She's been mentioned here by Q on the board. Now, Q says, how does Linda Rothschild connect to the Bronfmans? Find the bridge, think company. So there was a company that was created by the Rothschilds and Bronfmans. It's called literally like just Rothschild Bronfman Investments. It's like a financial services company. And this is the connection between the two, where they merge the billions and billions of dollars and make more money. They leverage their wealth with each other to create more wealth at the expense of basically everyone in society. which is not a bad thing if you're just a pure capitalist. But when you're engaged in things like Bronfman was with Nexium, which we have already covered very extensively, the type of human sex trafficking, sex cult that was, connected back to the human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein's involved in, and the fact that Dershowitz says on Fox News that Linda Rothschild was the one who introduced him to Jeffrey Epstein, who happens to be friends with her and a bunch of other elites like the president of Harvard and, you name it. But then it says Nexium, who pleaded guilty, and it gives this Claire Bronfman article where it talks about how she did actually plead guilty. The New York Times article. She was one of 2 women who pleaded guilty on Friday in a racketeering case. But that was back in April. Now, this came just before Keith Raniere was found guilty on charges of just sick satanic stuff, cult trafficking, human trafficking, and all of that. So this is what Q is telling us, look at, saying, Allison Mack, when does a bird sing? Watch NYC, News Unlocks, 55Q. So remember, this is something that Q just told us last month, not even a month ago. And now we're seeing this story come up here. Crazy Days and Nights is this website. It's a bunch of insiders who post these blind items, and then, basically it's like insider information about what's happening in Hollywood. And that's the best description I could give to it. I'm sure there's people would be like, no, it's this or that. But, let me know in the description if there's any, or in the comments, if there's any other way you would describe this. But blind item 8 here from today or yesterday, saying a woman with that famous last name that has been around for hundreds of years was interviewed by the FBI because there are photos of her with underage female teens found in the files of the pedophile. So what these are meant to be are like cryptic little insider clues about what's happening behind the scenes. And almost instantaneously, everybody put together, this is Linda Rothschild and Jeffrey Epstein. Those are the 2 people being referenced here in this post. And the fact that she's got a last name that's been around for hundreds of years, Rothschild, and that she was interviewed because of photos of her being found with Jeffrey Epstein's files doesn't surprise me at all if that is the case. So this is what we're being told. And one of the Anons over here put all this together, going back to what Q told us originally back in November of 2017, that Linda Rothschild was one of the first people that Q named. She's a good friend of David Brock, the Media Matters guy, and Progress, whatever, Think Progress guy. But you can't make this stuff up. And she's taking all these flights with Jeffrey Epstein. So there's the connections. Very much makes sense. But I want to connect this all back to the fake news media. And here's one person I want to highlight. There's a person who writes for the Washington Post here, Alyssa Rosenberg. She wrote this opinion piece about QAnon, which is just it is the most obvious thing. It's funny. These people are so terrible. They've been formally classically trained in literature at these Ivy League colleges and in Yale, and they write these hack pieces that are just a joke. And I could pick it apart in 2 seconds, but I'm not going to read it to you because you know what? You can go read it for yourself. It's garbage. It's fake news. It's just another hit piece to weaponize the mass media against people who are patriots, who want to have equality of justice in our country, and that's it. But just look at who this person's connected to. Writes this whole hit piece on QAnon, right? And saying that here's why we can't just dismiss QAnon. We have to attack it even further because we're liars, and we have to attack those who are calling us out for being the liars that we are. Alyssa Rosenberg, let's look at your resume, Alyssa. Let's just take a second and look at it. Alyssa Rosenberg, she writes for the Washington Post column. Okay, that's fine. She used to work at Think Progress. She was the editor at Think Progress. Now, what was Think Progress again? Oh, yeah, that's right. Think Progress was the project of the American Progress Action Fund, a sister advocacy group organization of the Center for American Progress, run by former Clinton advisor John Podesta. Well, isn't that just interesting? So you see how these people are all connected, and you see why Q tells us to look at the fake news and to understand that these people are all connected. And look at her bio. She went to Yale. Can somebody say Skull and Bones, or whatever? Maybe Skull and Bones is all men. Maybe they have a female one. I don't know. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe they've really, Skull and Bones has gotten woke in 2019 or before, and they started accepting everyone. You never know. But, there you go, guys. This is what they do. They come after us. They try to attack us. They try to smear us. They try to put us down, and they write their hit pieces. But we're going to continue to persevere no matter what, because we have that right in this country. It's the First Amendment. We can ask questions and have a discussion. You can't shut that down. If you start shutting that down, I mean, you're going to destroy this country as it has been successful and great for so long. You were going to destroy that. And that's what these people, I think, fully intend on doing before they ever hope to, or will ever want, or will ever imagine themselves being caught or have faced culpability for their actions. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you guys for watching. A few more things before we go. Obviously, come here, watch these videos, share them on your social media, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything that we talk about here on this channel. So a few more things before we go. There's a couple ways you can help the channel out. First of all, do you guys want to enjoy this great conference? I've had a feeling that there were going to be bigger names coming to Miami for the American Priority Conference, which is at Trump National, which is at Doral, which is the Blue Monster. For those of you who know golf, it's the Blue Monster Golf Course at Trump National in Miami. But we got a really big name they're announcing who is going to be at the event. Guess what, guys? The headliner now is going to be Donald Trump Jr. It's going to be such a pleasure to have Mr. Trump at the event itself. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be an incredible event. So if you want to get tickets, it's in Miami, October 10th through 12th. I told you bigger names were coming, and here they are. Don Jr. is going to be there. It's going to be a bunch of great people. But if you want to hang out with a bunch of patriots, meet people from the administration and other organizations and movements, and just have a great networking opportunity, there's going to be a charity golf tournament. There's going to be a charity poker tournament, bunch of speaking events. Come here. There'll be a link in the description. Use that link to come to the American Priority Conference website and get your tickets today before they sell out. It's going to be at Trump National in Doral, and this is October 10th through 12th this year in Miami. So I hope I see you guys there, and this is going to be a great event, so definitely go check that out. A couple other ways you can help out. You can come find me over here at JUSTINFORMEDNews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. Links to the Q stuff, different news websites, different breaking news here, and of course the latest videos from the channel. So you guys can use this site. It's JUSTINFORMEDNews.com. And also you can come over here and find me on Twitter at JustInformedYou, the official website or the official Twitter page for Just Informed Talk. Come over here, give me a follow. We can have a conversation. Check out all my funny, hilarious, thought-provoking tweets, and we can start the conversation over there as well. So a couple other ways you can help support the channel financially would be Patreon, patreon.com. Now, all you have to do is come here to this webpage. There'll be a link in the description. You click this button to become a patron. It's a monthly donation. You set it and forget it, and know you're helping create content here on this channel. YouTube is basically demonetized the whole channel now, so I rely 100% on support from you guys and outside advertisers that I have to go find myself, which is not easy. So your support makes a huge difference, and I'm so thankful for you guys who come here and support me on Patreon. And I have a GoFundMe set up. If you will make a one-time or anonymous donation, links to everything that we talk about here will be in the description. So with that being said, we do end each and every episode with a segment I call God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today I want to share these words talking about God, and they're talking about glory to God alone. And I think this is important given a lot of the things that we've covered here today. It says, this is Psalm 15, verse 1 through 8. It says, not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory, because of your faithful love, because of your truth. Why should the nations say, where is their God? Our God is in heaven and does whatever he pleases. Their idols are silver and gold, made by human hands. They have mouths but cannot speak, eyes but cannot see. They have ears but cannot hear, noses but cannot smell. They have hands but cannot feel, feet but cannot walk. They cannot make a sound with their throats. Those who make them are just like them, as are all who trust in them. Now, you're like, what's that mean? What is it talking about? Well, it's simple. I mean, what it's saying there is that only glory should be put to God. To God be the glory. And when we invest in these things that are of this world, and here it's talking about the idols of the day. They were made of silver and gold, and they were statues that had heads and hands and feet, but they couldn't do anything. But today we're living in a slightly different era. Today those statues are on the internet. People can make holograms that look like humans that have no soul. People make robots that can talk to you and do your laundry, but there's no essence, and they're just a shell, a hollow shell of the people who created them, right? And these are the things that are deceiving us. The movies that indoctrinate the children and warp people's minds. You know, the video games, the violence, the TV shows, the graphic songs. They're all just a manifestation of individuals who are just as hollow as the messages they're trying to put forth. The true substance is relying on God and remembering that all of these distractions, all of these minor things that we see over and over and over again, they will build up in our heads, and they are toxic. And we have to flush those out, and we have to remember that God is above, not the things that we see here in this world. We have to remember that, and we have to pass that message on to our family and friends and everyone who we care about, and even those that we just meet on the street. Share this message with everyone and let them know that we will not allow this world that has so much evil with so much good, but with so much evil, we will not let that take over our lives, and we will put God first and above. And we will thank Jesus for his sacrifice on the cross, and we'll remind ourselves that we are filled with the Holy Spirit and we have our eternal salvation already bought and paid for. So pass that message along, but that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and hit it, bop it, tap it, headbutt it, chest bump it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. My name is Craig. This has been Just Informed Talk. Godspeed. And God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.